so may I just... there we go. Hi, my name's Matthew, and I guess when I was thinking about doing this talk, where do I begin? I'd argue the only piece of advice I could give you is make sure your PhD is your own journey and no one else's. And this may seem a bit abstract, but if you do decide to do a PhD, you will be on a very bumpy path going towards it. And there's good and bad things about that. And I guess my own journey began in school, as I wasn't very academically gifted, I'm afraid, because I was dyslexic and I wasn't noticed in school, so I had a very interesting journey, and I actually never thought I'd get to university. But somehow, somewhere, I managed to get through the process, and my first degree was in media studies, and that was at Ulster. And then I began my journey. I decided I could do this. I found it very interesting. I found there was an intellectual intrigue in things I never once had before, and I thought I'd go on and do a master's. Then I found myself, I actually did a master's here at Queen's, and I did it in film and visual studies. And I found I enjoyed my experience so much I came back and did a second master's. I'm a glutton for punishment, as you can decide. And I thought that I wanted to have more understanding of the world around me, so I picked sociology, and that was a real task, moving from discipline to discipline. And how did I find my way into doing a PhD into politics? I feel I've been very gifted in life, that I've managed to work with some really good, incredible people that understand where my talents lie and interest, even before I do. And I found that my master's supervisor pointed me in the direction of the Leverhulme Interdisciplinary Network for Cybersecurity and Society, and I found that to be a very interesting program. I'll talk about that just in a minute. So then I applied, and I ended up in a politics department, and as part of the Mitchell Institute. And what I found is at Queen's is that they have a true passion and a true understanding of what interdisciplinarity means. And I feel I am an example of that in moving from a wide array of disciplines. So one thing I would say is that if you have studied something before and you'd like to move into a different discipline, be brave and take up that mantle and go for it, because you'll be very well supported here. As part of the Interdisciplinary Network for Cybersecurity, there's also a built-in cohort, which I find very useful, in that you already have friends that'll be able to talk about the trials and tribulations of doing the PhD. Few pieces of advice and things I would ask you to think about is make sure you pick a supervisor you know you can work with. And I'm very thankful that I have a team of 3 that I'm able to work with. And I think one of them's here tonight, and I've no doubt I've given that man grey hairs worrying about me. What I like about my supervisors, and they'd probably be the best thing about my PhD, is that I don't see them as just academic scholars. I believe they actually go out and try and create real-world impact. As mentioned beforehand, I work in Borders, and they both have been to the House of Commons recently and to the House of Lords to talk about the Brexit negotiations and what it means for the Irish border. So that instills me a real sense of wanting to actually be able to go out into the world and take those skills to help the wider community. And I think that's a wonderful underlying theme to doing a PhD at Queen's. Secondly, I feel the support you get here at Queen's is outstanding, not just from your academic supervisors, but from the PhD community itself, and going to the library if you need a book, to going to student support if not. I'd be lying to say if I haven't had my own grey hairs from doing my PhD. I have built up an ability to do all-nighters and an unhealthy diet of coffee. But beyond that, I feel the PhD has given me a certain sense of freedom, in that I'm able to explore what I want to explore, and I'm able to contribute to my own field what I think is valued and important. And I think that's a wonderful gift to be able to have and experience. So that's why I think it's very important from the very start that you think about what you want your journey to be, because it's very easy to be influenced by other people. You do have roadmarks, your supervisors, the support here to guide you through that journey. So keep that in mind, even at the very beginning of the application process. What is it you want to think about, and what is it you want to study? Also, if you're interested in politics, please come speak to me after. I'll be at the stand. As the Senator George J. Mitchell Institute is a wonderful community, ranging from conflict to security studies, and they offer support week-to-week seminars, and able to go and talk about these ideas, being able to express them, and I think that's a very important atmosphere to create. Finally, I think the best piece of advice I could give you is the PhD teaches resilience. It gives you skills that you never thought you could able to have and find yourself. Go away, think about it, and know yourself that you have the knowledge to do it. You must ask yourself the question, do you have the stamina and the willpower to do it? And if you have the burning desire to do it, you will be able to pick yourself up and go for it. Thank you so much for having me.